Welcome to Mojave River Valley News. As promised, we are going to give you all the election results. It's going to take a few minutes, but we'll get through it. We'll be right back. Now tonight what we're going to do is we're actually going to show you our projections. Now these are not final numbers. These are not certifications from the ROV yet at this point here. This is just what myself and a few of my team members think that these seats be locked in. And there's still a few out there that are still not ready yet. So let's go ahead and move into the first one. This is the J. Overnolte seat. Obviously, AP has already said this is a done deal. At this point here, we have J. Overnolte, moving way forward. This is done. This is a done seat. So we gave our little green check mark on this one. Let's move to the next one. Next one here is Scott Wilk. Now, we were concerned. A lot of people were concerned way in the beginning with Scott Wilk because his numbers weren't showing. I kind of felt that the numbers that he would actually see would be coming later on, and sure enough, it did happen. Right now, you can see by the numbers that he's comfortably staying ahead. He's moving slowly ahead of Kip here, and I definitely say this we can lock this one here. Let's go to the next one here. This is Thurston Smith against Rick Herrick. This is one of the ones where we had two Republicans that were actually running against each other. Thurston took a huge leap of right in the beginning there. And he's pretty much stayed with it here. There's definitely no question that Smitty will be the selection for the Assembly 33rd District. Let's move on to the next one here. This is the Assembly District number 36. Now remember, there's only a small handful of you that would even be in this, and that'd be the Phelan and the Pinyon Hills area. This was really kind of a no-brainer on this. We were pretty sure that Tom Lackey would keep his seat here, and sure enough, that's what happened. Let's move to the next slide. Coming back to Apple Valley Unified School District, this is one we've been talking about for a little bit here, wondering what was going to happen between Dennis and Adeline. Today, because of the trending that we're seeing here, we feel more than comfortable that Adeline will take that seat there, and Donna Davis was the incumbent. She'll be put off the side, so we'll have a new person in that seat there. Let's move on to the next slide. All Barstow Unified School District. This is one that we were talking about before. This was with Barbara May Rose. She ran and won two different seats, and I think this is going to be a question for the community to decide if they want one person running for two seats. And like I mentioned before, I'm more of a person that thinks, you run for one seat, you do your best job for that, and you don't split the roles between two areas. But definitely at this point here, there's no question that Barbara May Rose will take the Unified School District seat still. Let's move to the next slide. Asperia Unified School District, this is a new seat that no one has ever been in before because of the redistricting. There's no question in our minds that Maria T. Gomez will take this seat here. It's been trending slowly away from Marjorie Veronica Rubio for quite a while now. So we'll definitely put our green check mark on this, that Maria T. Gomez will take that seat, and she'll be the first person in that district to take that seat. Let's move on to the next one. This is the Area 4 for Asbury Unified School District. Cody Gregg has been on there for 2 terms in there now. He is the incumbent, obviously, and definitely the people in his area wanted to put him back in there, and so he took a good 40% of the votes. And so we are locking our green arrow on him. So we'll lock him in. Next slide. Going to Snowline Joint Unified, this is one that we were kind of watching to see where it was going to happen. We feel more than confident that the numbers are they're moving farther. The Daniel Flores is slowly moving into to be able to take this seat for sure. So we definitely put our green check mark on this, that we project that Daniel will take this seat here. Let's move to the next slide. This is the other Snowline Joint Unified School District seat here. We were watching this one. This one here has been solid for Nathaniel from day one here, and there's no question in our minds that he will take this seat. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. Victor Valley Union High School District. Barbara Dew has been on there a long time. She's a pretty solid name in the community there. She's been the incumbent there for quite a while. Definitely in our minds here, we did put the green check mark on her. There's no question that she's going to keep her seat too. Let's go ahead and move to the other Victor Valley Union High School District. Jose Barrios, I believe, has been on there for 2 terms. This is actually coming into his 3rd term, I believe. And there's no question that he overwhelmingly just the people in that district are happy with what he's doing there, and they wanted him back in there. So we also put our green check on that. Let's move to the next one. Adelanto Elementary School District, Christine Turner, we felt that was going to be pretty solid for her, and sure enough it has been. She is the incumbent in there, and so we gave our green check on that, so she'll hold that seat. Let's move to the next seat. This is Hellendale School District. Right here, you can tell this is a fairly small community. It's a tight community. They know what they have in there. They know what they want in there. And Heather and Julie are definitely going to take that seat. Keep their seats in there. So we definitely put our 2 green check marks on that one too. Let's move to the next one. Victor Elementary School District. There's no one that had sat in the seat before. We are more than confident that Susan is going to take this seat here. She's really kind of really had the lead from it from day one, and taking 77% of the vote is a pretty big margin. So definitely we put our green check mark on there. She will take that seat. Let's go to the other Victor Elementary School District, and this is Gabe and Edgar. Edgar is a young gentleman that was running just to see what he could do here. Obviously, Gabe is pretty strong in the community. He sat on there. I think he's been on the elementary school district for way over 20 years, and he's been a real cornerstone, I think, for that school district. So definitely, Gabe is one will take that seat and remain in there. Let's go ahead and move to the next one. City of Adelanto, we were wondering what was going to happen this, because we felt like Joy was going to hold her seat, but she had some folks that were running into her. Daniel Ramos, Ramos is coming in there. He's going to go ahead and take the first spot, but there really isn't a first spot. When you have these, it's just 2 people being elected. So Daniel and Joy, we feel more than comfortable that Joy will keep her seat. So let's move on to the next one. And also Daniel will take a seat too. City of Barstow, this is where Julie was the mayor for many years here. This was a very contentious race in there. I know it was a lot of craziness that went on there, but Paul is going to, there's no question in our minds that Paul will take that seat as the mayor of Barstow. Let's move to the next slide. This is the other one of Barbara May Rose. She ran for the city council. Again, my feeling is on this, and this will really be up to the community, what they decide they feel they need to do there. I'm a big believer. I'm just not sold that you can really be on the school district and the city at the same time. I think it's not necessarily as much as a conflict in my mind, but I think you need to really take one seat and just really run with it. But right now, there's no question in our minds that Barbara May Rose will take the city council seat. Let's move to the next slide. City of Barstow, this is district number 4 here. Cameron was is the incumbent, but Marilyn is she just kept creeping up on this thing here. We went from 22, now we're at 23, and a few days ago, I think if you've been watching the video, she was at 20. So right now we kind of feel that the discussion was, could this take one more day to decide if Maryland is going to take the seat? I think that because this is not a very big district, it's, like I said, it's a very, very small area. I think that we can say that the 23 votes, believe it or not, will probably be enough to win. So tonight we've gone ahead and put our check mark on Maryland that she will take that seat at this time here. Let's move to the next slide. The city of Barstow, the city clerk, this is, no one had sat in the seat here, but it was very strong that Andrea was going to take this, Andrea Flores. So we definitely have our check mark for her as taking that seat. Let's move to the next slide. City of Asperia, this is a new district for the area here, but Rebecca was even though you don't really sometimes have incumbents for new districts, we decided to go ahead and call this an incumbent because she is on the city council today. There's no question in our minds that Rebecca Swanson will keep her seat on on the Asperia City Council. There's no question at all, so we gave her the green check. Let's move off to the other City Council seat. Now, this is one that for a while there we were watching. We thought Mark Dundon was trending, and he was trending closer to Larry Bird, and then all of a sudden the vote started going the other way. With a difference now of close to, I believe it's almost 300, this is going to be a tough. I don't see Mark be able to turn this around here, and I think we feel more than confident today that Larry Bird, which is sitting in there today, will keep his seat also. Let's move to the next slide. City of Victorville, this is one we've been talking about, and this one is one of of a couple of these races that are, of the 3 races that are still up in the air, believe it or not, after 2 weeks. The incumbents are obviously Blanca Gomez and Gloria Garcia. Gloria Garcia did not get her seat here back. Right now we have Becerra is in number 1, and Gomez is number 2. Those 2 seats are pretty solid. Remember, they're voting for 3. The question still today is Ryan McEachran and Leslie Irving. Now, this has been going back and forth, and now yesterday it was, I should say, on for Monday's reporting, Ryan was ahead by 5. Now today, Irving's ahead by 3. So we're kind of just straddling that point there. This is a race that could go all the way down to the end here. We have seen races in San Bernardino County that have gone to the point where at the end have tied. Now, for a race with this many people tying and being this close here, that's pretty amazing. So when it gets down to that point, it could get down to a coin flip if it is a tie. But right now, I still believe that Ryan McEachran will probably, because of the trending that he has done so much, he has really closed this gap. I think these are some bumps in the road here. I can still feel that over the next few days, my guess is that Ryan will make it out of this hole and actually and be able to take the seat. Leslie Irving is just, the trending has not been there for her. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one here. Daggett Community Service District. We were watching this one here because it was kind of like wondering what it was for a while. There was a 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Today we feel very confident that Truey and Green and Mark will take the seats. Robert will get knocked out. He was the incumbent in there. I think that Mark, of course, was the other incumbent. He'll keep his seat in there. We feel pretty confident that those 3 will be where we're going to sit today. Let's go to the next slide. Excuse me. Hellendale Community Services District, this one is pretty solid. Hellendale seems to be an area that knows what they want, they know what they have, and they know what they want to keep. The same thing with the school district, we saw the same effects there. So Sandy and Henry the 2 incumbents, will keep their seats. We feel very confident in that, and that's why we put our check marks on those 2. I'll move to the next one. Newberry Community Service District, this is a very, very small district also. Paula she kept her seat, and also they brought in Marjorie. These are also very, very small districts where kind of everybody knows everybody, so if you're doing a good job in there, a good chance you're going to keep your seat. I think one of the things we can look back at other seats over there and that we've watched in the past, Silver Valley School District. It doesn't change much. People know what they have, they know what they want, they know what they want to keep. So let's move to the next slide. Feeling Pinyon Hills. This one here is another very, very small district area. It's very wide, the area, but it's still a small community. Kind of the idea, that way of things work, and you can see that the 2 incumbents definitely are going to keep their seats, and definitely we have our 2 check marks on those 2. Let's move to the next one. This is Wrightwood Community Service District. This is kind of a small group kind of town there. This was kind of interesting because West did not keep his seat in this town. They decided to go to Sadie, but if you look at Sadie and West, they're still very, very close, but we feel more than confident that Sadie and Natalie will take those 2 seats. Let's move on to the next one. Wrightwood, remember, this is the short term. Remember, I discussed short terms in the past. That's when you have somebody that leaves the office and the whole office has not been fulfilled there. We had Chuck was an incumbent in there and decided to run for that seat. Those things get kind of confusing of how those actually work. We have one other one we're going to be at here in a second, which is also a short term, but we feel more than confident that at this time here that Chuck will take that seat for the Wrightwood Community Services District. Let's move on to the next slide. Apple Valley Fire Protection, this one took a move. Michael Karen has been a staple in there, and he was the incumbent along with Daniel. And Michael, they did not get his seat this time. They gave it to Amanda Hernandez, which we did do an interview on it if you go back and see some of the interviews. So Daniel and Amanda and Sid will take these 3 seats. Let's go ahead and move to the next slide. Asbury Recreation Park District, this is actually for the full term. This one, we were wondering what was going to sit because there's some other candidates that have ran in the past for different seats. And but Roman Aguilar and Kelly Gregg were the 2 incumbents in there, and both of them are going to comfortably, we projected that we'll keep their seats. A few episodes ago, we actually brought Roman in here and we kind of interviewed him. And so if you get a chance, go back and see that video too. Let's go ahead and move to the next slide. This is the short term. This is one we've been watching. This one's getting on the edge of probably getting ready to call. If James Roberts doesn't make any movement for Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, this race will probably be done. He's been slowly gaining ground. It's kind of like with the race with Ryan McEachran, where he was this far away, but he moved in there, but now he's having trouble getting it over the line. I think that you can say the same thing about James Roberts and James Blocker. There was a huge gap between them. They got real close, but just can't push it over the line. We've seen this in races in the past where it's just those last few votes, they just can't get to turn their way. So this one needs a few more days. James Blocker is the incumbent in there, but this one needs to simmer. James Roberts did get within 40 at one point there, but remember, this is a big district. This is all of Asperia, so this is a pretty good size area here. And there's still a few votes out there to count. The undervotes are a little bit high on that. We'll see if those trend that way, what happens from that. So let's go ahead and move to the next slide. This is Mojave Water Agency. This is one that Carl Coleman has sat on a long time. He was the incumbent. And Rick Raleigh came in very strong, and there's no question in our mind that Rick will take this seat. Now, this is another seat that Apple Valley is going to have to make a decision on, because you have Rick is on the Mojave Water Agency, and he's also on the Apple Valley Unified School District. I think it's the communities to decide if there's impact between those two, if there's a nexus between them that would be in conflict. I think we've had that in the past. We also had in the past where we had for a while that a Hall has sat on the Richard Hall had sat on the Asperia Recreation Park District and also on the Mojave Water Agency. It seemed like the community was comfortable with it, and I think a lot of that gets down to the optics of what the community wants to do with this. So, but there's no question in our minds that Rick will take this seat. Let's go ahead and move to the next slide. This is the Mojave Water Agency seat, Division number 7. This is where Smitty Smith held this seat. Of course, he's moving off to the Assembly seat and did not really run for this seat here. And it was interesting to see what was going to happen with this, because you have a lot of talent here with a lot of water talent that could be chosen here. But Michael Limbaugh has worked for the Mojave Water Agency, so he does know all the nuts and bolts. Michael Lapiano had been involved with that too, so he knows all the workings. But definitely there's no question in our minds that Michael Limbaugh will take this seat. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, now we're going into the measures. So the measure J, these are the ones where measure K and J, whatever one got the most vote would be the one that would happen. I've explained in the past what measure J was. I don't want to get into it tonight here, but right now we're pretty sure with even this tight margin that measure J will be a yes. But as we move to the next slide, you can see that K is totally much bigger. Let's move off to K here. K is also a yes. This is an interesting thing where the county Did the county really understand what they're voting for, if they did or didn't? This moves in after, I think it's 2022 races where the county supervisors will only be in for one election cycle. There's pros and cons to this. So a lot of folks think that that is too short of a period of time to know the workings on that. We'll see what happens with this, but because K has more votes than J, then obviously K will take this. There's no question. This will be the one that will be part of the new charter of the county. Let's move on to the next one. This is Measure N. This is the one in Asperia that is kind of interesting because it really doesn't have any effect. Because right now, today, the way it is, it's really against the law until 2025. And I think there's a high probability that the state of California, through the legislature and through the governor, will probably enact it again to say you're not allowed to do, to regulate such large lot sizes. The state is always pushing for smaller lot sizes for housing reasons. So this is one that a lot of folks were, I'm not sure if they knew what they're voting for. They're voting for something that really is not going to happen. So it's kind of an interesting one. Let's go on and move off to the next one here. And this is Measure O. I know Apple Valley was really hoping for this to happen. It was very interesting to sit back and see where this was going to sit, but you can see that the 2/3 of the voters decided no, they did not want the 1% sales tax. This is another community that did do this is Barstow. It was successful there, and we'll get to the next one, which is Victorville. And this is the other one really be close to watch, but there's no question that the Measure O will be a no. Let's move to the next slide. This is Measure P. We've been talking about Measure P. Each day we've been doing an update. This is still too close to call. And to have an area with so many voters and to be within 9 votes, that's pretty amazing. I mean, this is not, you can tell the community is very, very split on this. This could go anywhere, but right now today it is a yes vote by just a narrow margin, but just a few reporting periods ago, it was a no vote. So we're probably going to go back and forth on this one all the way to the end, my guess is. And we'll keep you updated on where this one ends up falling. Let's go ahead and move to the next one here. This is Measure R. This is Analantos. This is the property tax for vacant land. It's interesting because people that vote don't sit on a vacant land usually. So people that have vacant land don't vote. So a lot of folks were questioning and saying, well, is this really fair for the landowners that have vacant land, because they don't get a chance to say what's happening here. But the community did say this, and they came back, and what they've said here is that they do want those fees from the vacant land. So let's go ahead. So definitely this one is going to be a yes, overwhelmingly by over 2/3 of votes. This is the fire protection district. This one's kind of interesting because this does not affect all communities in San Bernardino County. But what's interesting here is that a yes vote would have gotten rid of the fees, and the no vote keeps it. This one here it's going to be a no vote. It's going to keep it, which is interesting because there are some areas of the county that, like I said, that will not be affected by this, but they still had a chance to vote on it, which is kind of a weird thing. I don't quite understand exactly why certain areas had the vote or not vote. And I think there's a lot of people that don't either. So I don't know if there's an expert on that or not. If there is, maybe we'll find one in the future. But definitely this is going to be a no for Measure U. Let's go to the next slide. Measure V, this is the Spring Valley Lake one. This one here was a little bit contentious too. This is one of the ones that I kind of said to many, many people. It's like, be careful what you ask for. You may not like what you get at the end here. I don't want to get on the details of Measure V, and maybe in the future we'll see if we can get a couple folks that we'll interview in here just to get their opinion on V and what it is, and then really where it should go in the future. Is it something that maybe the voters didn't understand what they were doing for the community, or did they know? Because they have their own HOA, their homeowners association out there, did that actually work together with it? I mean, maybe in the future we'll see if we can get somebody in here to help clarify that. But there's definitely no question that Measure V will be a no. Let's go to the next slide. This is Measure W, out of Wrightwood here. This one really had to do with just taking county money and bringing it back into the community for the community services district to work with. This one's actually kind of surprising that that there was actually any no votes at all, because I could not come across any reason not to vote for this thing, even no matter what side of the fence you were on with this. So there's no question in my mind that by a long, long, long stretch that Measure W will be a yes. Let's move on here. So I had a chance here over the few weeks, if you had watched the videos, to show you the updates that have been, the daily updates just have to do with those races real tight. And we'll try to keep doing that over the next few days to come. But after this 2 weeks, what we want to do is go through all the races so you get a chance to see where everything sits today. And as you can see, there's only 3 races that are really in question at this time here. So anyway, we appreciate you watching. This is a new show for us in the area here. We're slowly moving forward and bringing on new stuff here. We're hoping that our Halloween episode will air. We did a lot of episodes on different candidates that we interviewed in the past. Also, if you're watching us on YouTube, please follow us. If you'd like to see where when we post a new video, click the little bell and it'll indicate saying, hey, there's a new video up there. Also on Facebook, please like us. I want to make sure that we're going to try to go ahead and show you what the results are all the way down to the bottom line. At the end, we'll give you a total recap on this, so that'll be marked out there. So this is Eric Swanson on behalf of my team in here, and for our Victor Valley, the Victor Valley area, it's just is just a lot of things going on, and we want to go ahead and present this to you. So on behalf of Mojave River Valley News and my team here, have a good evening.